New home sales down 16.6% versus the 1.7% decline previously estimated. A big miss, an uptick in contract cancellations due to rising interest rates and inflation. This has led to a 9-month supply for home builders up from 6-month supply previously in March. Builders are sitting on a lot of inventory. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to cover new data from the National Association of Homebuilders, Realtor.com, and CNBC. There's so much information to unpack here. Thank you so much for tuning in. One caveat, I'm a Florida, Georgia real estate broker, not a financial advisor. All right, let's begin. The new housing supply, according to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the U.S. Census Bureau, is up to a 9-month supply compared to a 6-month supply in March. Sales are down by 16.6%, a massive miss from the originally expected decline of 1.7%. This is a massive shift in unbalance. More supply means more opportunities for would-be homebuyers. Let's go over this article from CNBC. Sales of newly built homes tumbled over 16% in April while prices soared. Sales of newly built homes dropped 16.6% in April from March, far more than expected, and were down 26.9% from April 2021, according to the U.S. Census. The analyzed rate came in at 591,000 units, seasonally adjusted. Analysts had been expecting 750,000. March's read was also revised lower. That is the slowest pace since April 2020 when everything shut down at the start of the COVID pandemic. Sales surged quickly after that as Americans sought bigger homes with outdoor spaces for quarantining. These numbers are based on signed contracts during the month, not closings, so it's perhaps the most up-to-date indicator in the housing market. Mortgage rates, which have been rising since January, really shot up in April. The average rate on a 30-year fixed loan began the month at 4.88% and ended it at 5.41%, according to Mortgage News Daily. A stark pullback in demand and not overconstruction is hitting the market. Housing starts have actually been falling over the past few months. Slower sales caused the inventory of newly built homes to jump sharply to a 9-month supply. A 6-month supply is generally considered a balance between buyers and sellers. Builders are also starting to see an uptick in cancellation rates. While those have not shown up in earnings releases yet, analysts who follow the builders are beginning to report it. Slower sales caused the inventory of newly built homes to jump sharply to a 9-month supply. The 6-month supply is generally considered balanced between buyer and seller. Also, sales of newly built homes sank to the slowest rate since the start of the COVID pandemic. New home sales down on rising interest rates and declining affordability, says the National Association of Homebuilders. In a further sign of a housing slowdown, new home sales posted a double-digit percentage decline in April, falling to their weakest pace in 2 years as rising mortgage interest rates and worsening affordability conditions continue to take a toll on the housing market. Sales of newly built single-family homes in April fell 16.6% to a 591,000 seasonally adjusted annual rate from a downwardly revised reading in March, according to the newly released data by the U.S. Census Bureau and the Department of Housing and Urban Development. New home sales are down 26.9% compared to April 2021. In another indicator that deteriorating affordability conditions are particularly hurting the entry-level market, a year ago, 25% of the new home sales were priced below $300,000, while in April, this share fell to just 10%. Jerry Conter, chairman of the National Association of Homebuilders, says higher construction costs fueled by rising material prices and supply-side constraints along with limited existing home inventory are pricing many potential home buyers out of the market. The housing market is showing signs of a correction. What this means for buyers and sellers. Cracks are beginning to appear in the red-hot housing market. Spiraling mortgage rates on top of record high and still rising home prices are leading many experts to predict the real estate market is on the verge of a correction, if it isn't already in one. They anticipate home prices will flatten or even go down a bit in certain markets. Home sales have already begun dropping. Fewer buyers are seeking mortgages because they can't afford the double whammy of high prices and rates on top of soaring inflation. Real estate agents are reporting smaller bidding wars and sellers cutting prices. Prices have even begun falling in a few parts of the country. A housing correction has begun, says Mark Zandi, chief economist at Moody's Analytics. There are a growing number of cracks in the housing market, and they're going to turn fissures and fault lines in the coming months. Median home list price in America hit a new high of $425,000 in April, up 14.2% in just 1 year, according to the most recent Realtor.com data. Meanwhile, average mortgage interest rates climbed to 5.25% in the week ending May 19th. That's a 75% increase in a year's time. The result is new buyers would be paying about 50% more for the same home compared with a year ago in their monthly mortgage bills, and that's greatly diminishing the buying power of many Americans, especially during a time when inflation has hit a 40-year high, gas prices have spiked, and even rent levels are nationally hitting new highs. So there's a lot of downward pressure in the housing market and home sales are falling. Plus, new home buyers are facing headwinds with rising mortgage rates and inflation, making the payment of a comparable home from 1 year ago 50% more expensive. Do you think the market is shifting in the favor of would-be home buyers? Did this data surprise you? Let us know in the comments. Okay, so today's takeaway. Sales of new homes are down 16.6%, a massive miss compared to the expected estimate of 1.7% decline in sales. New building supply has increased to a 9-month supply compared to a 6-month supply the previous month. The National Association of Homebuilders reports there's been an influx of contract cancellations due to rising mortgage rates, inflation, and a deterioration of affordability conditions. According to the Department of Housing and Urban Development and the U.S. Census Bureau, new home sales are down 26.9% compared to April 2021. New home buyers are facing a 50% higher payment for the same home compared to a year ago in their monthly mortgage bills, and that's greatly diminishing the buying power of many Americans, especially during a time when inflation has hit a 40-year high, gas prices have spiked, and rent levels are at an all-time high. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that like button. I'm a Florida, Georgia real estate broker, not a financial advisor. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.